What's going on, everyone? It's Tuesday, October 7th, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by FanDuel. I'm your host here, Jason Cooper, alongside my producer, Jacob Gramenya. And you might notice, wait, what happened to your jersey? Oh, you're still wearing your jersey. Okay, there we go. Yeah, you might notice us both wearing jerseys because there's a special day today. The NHL is back, and we're going to be previewing the NHL here today. We got a loaded show for you. Not the normal 3 guests that we normally have. We have 5 guests here today. You know some of them. You might not know the other ones, but they're all big names here in the hockey space. Batting leadoff, we have Michael Leboff. Then we have Greg Wyshynski. So many sports coming on. Dom Luszczyszyn from The Athletic. Then to close out the show, we have Alex Moretto, absolutely loaded.
The closer.
He's like, you know what? We're going to get the horns playing.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's crazy that he booked himself as the closer, but it works. I'm excited for today's show. We're going to be talking a bunch of different things, NHL landscape in general, talk some futures bets, who we think is underrated, overrated, maybe make some predictions, who's going to win the division, each respective division, who's going to win the Stanley Cup, who's going to make it to the Stanley Cup. There's a lot of stuff to talk about here today. NHL's back. We're ready to go. Before we get into today's show, though, just want to quickly remind you guys about BetStamp Pro, because with football season in full swing, the NBA tip-off around the corner, and the NHL starting, now is the time to lock in the BetStamp Pro props screen. It's built for high-level bettors who need to spot and scale up edges fast. As more books take real money on props, prices are getting sharper, which means the window to exploit inefficient numbers is right now. You can't do that without a hyper-efficient, reliable, true line that shows you the real market price in seconds across 150-plus sportsbooks. Helps you find and hit the best edges before the markets move. Don't wait. The window to capitalize on the prop market is right now. Visit betstamp.com/hammer or scan the QR code to apply for a demo. There's spots limited ahead of this season, so you're going to want to do that very fast. Chat, I see you guys. I see you. It's going to get a little crazy today. We're going to get a little bit of a preview of what edge work was like last year with all the gooners in the chat, is what I think that Alex called them. But yeah, I'm excited for today's show. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. Before we get into today's show as well, do us a big favor. Smash that like button. It goes a long way for us here on the channel. We're 50 subs away from 4,000. If you want to subscribe as well and you haven't subscribed yet, it'd mean a lot to me. It'd be a big help. If you're new to the channel and you're not subscribed, it's your first time watching the show, stick around. Wait to the end of the show. And then if you've earned your subscription, press that button and let us know in the comment section down below. All right. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to get into things here. Let's bring on Michael Leboff. He's a writer for the New York Post. He's a big Islanders fan. And I know he likes to take his long shot darts at awards markets. Michael, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Excited for the Islanders, man. First kind of unknown season for us in quite some time, with a new GM, some young blood coming in. So I've got no idea what to expect for them, but I've no betting interest in the Islanders, but plenty for a lot of other teams. All
right. I was going to ask you about the Islanders, even though you just mentioned that you kind of feel like there's many ways that it could go. Is this like a sort of excitement? Is this kind of like, is there like a little bit of dread because you're worried about what might happen? Like, listen, as a Leafs fan, 10 years ago, I feel like I might have been in the same position as you were right now with everything new, everything changing. It's really nice to see things on the horizon and have all these prospects coming in. But are you like a little anxious or worried at all about this season? Is there too much pressure, or is it just like let it fly, let it rip, whatever happens? It's going to be a fun season regardless.
Yeah, I mean, as an Islander fan, you're always filled with dread, right? Like, I mean, for most of my life, I didn't know if the team was going to be there in the morning. So in that regard, at least it's a little bit better. But just generally, I would say my anxiety is not about like missing expectations as much this year, but just about it kind of hitting rock bottom. So I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. I think that there's definitely a path forward for them to have a decent season this year. But it's going to come down to the blue line. I don't think most people realize that about the Islanders. When you think about the Islanders, you kind of conjure up this image of deep blue line, good goaltending, but the blue line is really the biggest question mark going into the year. And if Ryan Pulock and Adam Pelech can't get going, they could be in a lot of trouble in their own zone. So that's the thing that's making me the most nervous. A little scared with the backup goaltending situation. It's been quite a long time since the Islanders have gone into a season not terribly concerned if the starting goalie gets hurt, because we've had Thomas Greiss and Simeon Varlamov there as insurance options. And this year it's Big Save Dave, who quite well from his illustrious stint with the Maple Leafs. So I'm a little nervous about that too, but pretty excited just to get it going and see what these guys look like.
Yeah, you guys have the floor there, of course, with Sorokin as well. A lot of fresh faces on this Islanders teams, but let's get into some stuff you want to talk about here, some betting stuff that you like. I know I mentioned off the top, you like to take a look at some awards markets. You like to take like stabs at like some long shots. We can start with the MVP, or if you don't like the MVP, we can start somewhere else. But anyone you like towards the back of the board here for the MVP awards for any players you like?
Is 500 to 1 long enough for you?
No, we got to go longer. No, I'm kidding. That's pretty good.
I like Zach Werenski at 500 to 1. I think that he got some shine in Hart Trophy conversations last year. Obviously was up there with the Norris too. And if you think Columbus is going to have a season where they step forward, that correlates with him having another big year. And that could put him on the board, because there are some people who look at this award and say, who's the most valuable player to their team. And Werenski last year was in that conversation for sure. And had he pushed Columbus into the playoffs, I think he would have been pretty close to landing on the top 3. So I know there's some people out there who think it's like a waste of time to bet into other positions outside of forward in this market. But, I had Hellebuck preseason last year, and I'm going to now go for a defenseman. It's been, I think, since Chris Pronger in 2000, since we've had a defenseman win this award. And him, Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar are kind of the only 3 that I think can do it. And so I'll take the longest one of them at a really big price. So I like Werenski at 500 to 1 as a fun dart here.
Yeah, fun dart, 500 to 1, very, very far towards the back of the board. But like you mentioned, if there were to be any of those guys to win it, it would be him. And he is, I think, of those guys you mentioned, maybe you could say Quinn Hughes is probably also, they're all pretty much one of the best players on their team. But the drop off from Werenski to the next best guy feels like the biggest of those 3 defensemen. So I could see him getting a lot more credit for the success of the team, especially if the Blue Jackets do well, for the success of the team than the others might. You talked about Schaefer. Any look for maybe the Calder Trophy? I know he's 22 to 1 right now. Any interest there, or you feel like it's in the right spot with Demidov being the clear-cut favorite?
I do think, like, I'd much rather bet him than one of the guys at the top. Like, I know people are flocking to Demidov, but we saw this last year with Michkov and Celebrini, and Lane Hudson kind of just emerged. So I'd push back on just assuming that it's going to be Demidov's award, especially just, this is going to be his first full NHL season. We saw him in a very small sample size, first time in North America for a long extended period of time as well. That stuff can pile up on a youngster. So I'd certainly prefer someone like Schaefer over him. I think, it really kind of grinds me to say it, but if Gabe Perreault is like an early call up or is early, has like an early big role to play, I think he's going to be interesting for the Rangers. And then Jonathan Lekkerimäki in Vancouver too. He's a pretty big price. I could see him being somebody that has some value down the board.
All right, Lekkerimäki is 80 to 1, which is again pretty big price here. Any other awards you want to look at? Any other awards markets you like for any long shots or? Yeah.
Sure. I like in the Norris. I like a couple guys at that same magic number, 500 to 1. Dougie Hamilton was out there. I think he's a point per game guy if he can stay healthy, and if he does stay healthy and he gives you 82 games, like his point total could be where it needs to be part of this conversation. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if voters are finally able to give this award to a defensive defenseman who plays a tough role, I think Mo Seider at 500 to 1 is also interesting. He can put up some points, but he plays such a brutal role for the Red Wings, and he'll be playing 25 minutes a night. If they get into the playoffs, I think you'll want to have that ticket in the pocket. Same with John Gibson. He's 250 to 1 for the Red Wings. He actually had some decent numbers last year for Anaheim in a limited sample. Once again, it's about staying healthy for him. And then I've started to hear this name a little bit more, so I wonder where this price will go. But I don't know if just hearing his name means that people are going to rush to bet him to win the Vezina. But Jet Greaves, once again, another Columbus Blue Jacket. We see guys come out of nowhere to win the Vezina. We saw it with Linus Ullmark a couple seasons ago. Dean Evason's a very good coach at getting his defensive game in order, or his team's defensive game in order. So he should be pretty sheltered. So yeah, I think Jet Greaves is pretty interesting. Triple digit long shot too. And you're going to hear his name a lot. I think people will be all over him if he has a hot start. So that number could come down considerably if he does come out of the gates well.
All right, sweet. Just out of curiosity, you mentioned like a defensive defenseman potentially winning the Norris. Do you want to see, like, NFL just introduced this year the Protector Award, where they're finally giving some offensive linemen credit in awards markets, because like it's almost impossible for any of those guys to ever win an award. Do you think the NHL should introduce like something like that for defensive defensemen, or like we already have like the Selke for two-way forwards essentially? Like, why do we not have that for defensemen?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think that it would make the Norris, then it would just kind of turn the Norris solely into that offensive defenseman award, which it kind of already is.
Yeah.
So I guess like that's the downside to it. It would make the betting a little less interesting as well.
Fair.
But I mean, I think we're kind of heading in that direction. So especially like you said, we've got the Selke Award in that market. I think that there's a couple decent shouts there. I think Andrei Kopitar, he's not my like big long shot. He's what is he, like 18-1 now? But if he has a good season in his swan song, I think that it'll be really hard for these romantic journalists not to bet him. So he's just another one to add to the lump here.
All right. Anyone else you like in this Selke market? Because I'm taking a look at the board. I see 3 Vegas Golden Knights in the top 9, which is pretty crazy to me. I don't know how. I mean, it's very hard to like predict the voting for this award because a lot of people have different criteria or how they like to vote. Anyone else you like in the Selke, maybe towards the back, or is this about where it's at?
Yeah, I think Kopitar. I mean, I could also see someone like Sidney Crosby being in this conversation too, because as you said, I don't think there's no formula to it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that you can, these guys, these journalists, if this is one that's written, voted on by the PHWA. So if they wanted to, they could just vote for whoever their favorite player is on the team that they cover, and they can kind of make an argument for it. I think you'll see a lot of people give Austin Matthews credit if the Leafs have a good year. So he's another one. This thing's obviously wide open now with Barkov out. So I would think about it that way, right? Like who's going to be the shutdown center, or, a guy like Mitch Marner, who's already coming into the season with like a really sparkling defensive reputation on the wing. And is that team going to be good? Because I think that that's one hurdle you do have to climb. So I think, you can kind of make a short list from there. Kopitar will definitely be on it. You'll want maybe a little bit of exposure to someone like Austin Matthews. Nick Suzuki for sure is another one. But I think the one of the bunch, Kopitar in this market would be my favorite.
All right, we talked Selke, we talked Norris, we talked Vezina, we talked everything basically here. Anything else that we haven't touched on yet, like maybe looking towards Stanley Cup or any other long shots you like?
Yeah, I mean, I know my good buddy So Money is going to be on later. So hopefully he listens to the show and doesn't just say he listens to it, because I actually think the Vancouver Canucks are a really good long shot for kind of like across the market. Whether you want to bet division, whether you want to just bet them to make the playoffs, but I think Stanley Cup futures, like if I had to pick one that I still think holds some value, I like the Canucks down the board, because they tick every box. And when you're looking at teams in this range, usually they have a lot more questions to answer than the Canucks do, which is, will their second line center be Philip Hedl, and will he stay healthy? And if not, can they find someone else? So I think the Canucks as a long shot are actually pretty interesting, especially, they've, even if Demko goes down, they've got a really good backup in Kevin Lankinen. We'll see if Adam Foote can kind of handle it, and if Pettersson steps up. But other than that, I mean, this team ticks a lot more boxes than you usually see from a team from 70, 80, 90, 100 to 1.
Yeah, 40 to 1 right now on FanDuel. And also, like, people forget, I know it's obviously a lot of turnovers happened since then, but 2 years ago they had that Edmonton Oilers on the ropes in round 2. So could see a little magic run again from these Canucks. Before I let you go here quickly, give me your 4 division winners, and then give me your Stanley Cup Finals, and then the Stanley Cup Final winner. It doesn't have to be tied to odds, just who you think will win each division and who will win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the Islanders will take the Metro and the President's Trophy and the Cup. But it'll be, I think the Hurricanes have a pretty clear path in the Metro. The Atlantic, I do think it'll be the Lightning. I know a lot of people are in on them. If I was to bet the Lightning in any way, it'd be Cooper to win. Jack Adams at 33 to 1, because he's never won it. And these journalists won't be able to help themselves in that regard. Yes. Central, I like Dallas, and Pacific, I'll go Vegas. And then Stanley Cup matchup, we'll go Vegas beats Florida. Mitch Marner, Conn Smythe, and has this an absolute gangbusters playoff to show that it was all the Leafs' fault and not his.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a good prediction. Seems realistic. Michael, appreciate you joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at the Big Lebowski, not the Big Lebowski, the Big Lebowski. Michael, appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. Good luck this season.
All right. Thank you. You too. All right. Good stuff. One's in the chat.
Could you imagine if Mitch Marner wins the Conn Smythe?
I mean,
What would you do?
I wouldn't be shocked at all. It's actually not a very shocking thing to think about. He's on like one of the best teams in the league, and he's one of the best players in the league.
I'd have to go for like a long silent walk if he won the Conn Smythe.
Well, I've always been high on him, so I don't really like.
Me too. Just if it happened,
it would suck, but I've come to terms with what happened. It is what it is. Like, it doesn't really bother me anymore. Nothing that
that's healthy.
Nothing I could have done to change it. Like, yeah, it's all you got to. So that's all you can kind of handle. All right. Let's get on to our next guest here. He's a senior writer over at senior NHL writer, over at ESPN. You can follow him on Twitter at Wyshynski. Greg Wyshynski coming on the show. Greg, how's it going? Appreciate you joining us today.
I mean, you can go senior writer. Ever since we became a WWE rights holder, I've increased my wrestling writing output. So it's more than just hockey now for your boy. But I gotta issue one correction. The Jack Adams, we were talking about John Cooper maybe winning, which would be great because he's long overdue to win. That's voted on by the broadcasters.
Oh,
so it's not the writers that do that award; it's the broadcasters, which is why usually it's like guys with the best story or the ones that give the best interviews or whatever. But that's one that we don't vote on that. The broadcasters do. Okay, good to know. I actually never knew that. I always deep dive into the awards once they're out and just taking a look at who voted for who. I had no idea that was how the Jack Adams were voted for. Also, like we're thinking of starting like a wrestling ring here at not a ring, like a wrestling arm of the Hammer. So like good to know that we have another guest potentially for that. We love the wrestling. We love wrestling here over at the Hammer. We've actually been talking about doing maybe a Royal Rumble ourselves. Who would win between us 30? Anyways, let's dive right into things. A lot to talk about. I feel like having you on off the top, we got to get your thoughts on the McDavid signing. Comes in way under market, basically re-signs the same number that he signed to many years ago. It was 8 years ago. 2-year deal. It's almost like Edmonton Oilers. Let's do this thing now or I'm out. What are your initial thoughts on this McDavid signing? I mean, it's good for the Edmonton fans because they get him there for a couple more years on top of this one to extend the window for that team to win a cup. I mean, obviously, if you're the city of Edmonton, you're feeling pretty good about somebody having picked you over leaving immediately. That doesn't often happen. But it is only 2 years beyond this one, and so the clock is on for Stan Bowman to sort of use this friendly cap space that McDavid's given up to try to build the team around him and get the pieces that they need. But it also is great for someone like me who wants to see him leave and wants to see him go and play in another market and go for a cup with somebody else and become the most talked about free agent in the history of hockey. That can still happen in 2028. He will be a viable in his prime player. So everybody wins except maybe for Stan Bowman. Because at the end of the day, what did McDavid do? He looked at their plans. He heard what Bowman had to say. And he said, "Oh, that's awesome. You have 2 years beyond this one that I'm willing to sacrifice in my life. Because that's how much faith I have in what's being built here."
Yeah, no, that's so fair. And honestly, like I feel like there's too much given to players, like forcing players from fans to like kind of sign under market. I feel like players should just be paid what they deserve to paid. I feel like that's just, and if they choose not to, that's what they want to do. Anyways, if he does end up winning the cup here, if the Edmonton Oilers do win over the next 3 years, do you think he'll retire an Oiler?
It's possible. I mean, that's part of this too, is that we all assume that after, the 27-28 season, he's just going to go UFA and go play somewhere else. But I mean, he certainly has an affinity for Edmonton. I mean, he's built a nice life there. He's got a beautiful house. His wife's got businesses there. He obviously is extremely tight with Leon Draisaitl. So like, there's reasons to believe that if they're successful and maybe there is a better vision for what could happen after the next 3 years, that he could remain at Edmonton. But again, you have to imagine that, it's a 3-year window for them to win, and then he goes off to new adventures and untold riches in other cities.
Of course. All right, let's talk a little bit about this. To me, was going to be the biggest narrative coming into the season, if McDavid would sign or not, where how that would play out in the media. But now that's gone. What is your favorite sort of under the radar narrative that you see around the NHL? I know I'm putting you a bit on the spot here. Is there anything that sticks out to you in your mind that you feel like maybe not a lot of people are talking about right now preseason, or at the start of the season, but as 1, 2, 3, 4 months down the road, it's going to be like the top headline here?
I think the West wild card is fascinating. If we're not talking about the big stories like Sid and everything like that, or the Panthers and their injuries, I think the West wild card is fascinating because you could pretty much cement in, at least in my opinion, 5 teams into the Western Conference playoffs, right? You got Dallas, Colorado in the Central. You've got Edmonton and Vegas. In my opinion, the Kings in the Pacific. I know there's some people that are worried the Kings might fall out. I'm not one of them. I think they're going to be a playoff team. So that leaves the number 3 in the Central, which could be any number of Utah, Minnesota, St. Louis, Winnipeg. And then it leaves the 2 wild cards, which is all those teams I just mentioned, plus Vancouver if they can stay healthy and get the turnarounds from the players that they need turning around, plus maybe somebody that we're not thinking of that's going to be ascendant, like the Anaheim Ducks, for example, who have this incredible mix of young stars and veteran players and Joel Quenneville behind the bench that might have a higher ceiling than we thought. So the what's happening underneath the top 5 in the West, I think, is a really interesting story, and we'll see how it plays out.
All right, let's talk a little bit about one of the new rules that have been added into this year for the NHL, the new salary cap rule, where you have to ice a roster that is below the cap in the playoffs. Instantly, when I saw that, I was like, okay. In my head, I was thinking Vegas, Petrangelo's going to come back. Oh, look at their team now. Nope, that's not happening. Not happening. How do you think that's going to affect things, if at all, at the trade deadline?
I mean, it automatically affects things insofar as the team like Florida, because of the new LTIR rules, being able to utilize the space that Barkov's injury would have given him otherwise. I mean, this team would have gone out and spent had a trade deadline bonanza without him in the lineup if he's on LTIR, and then be able to use all those players in the playoffs. As it stands, I can't imagine they're going to use the full salary cap space for Barkov with the hopes that he can come back in the playoffs. So immediately it has an impact on how teams are going to operate for the trade deadline. But, when it comes to the playoffs, I think these teams are going to be able to figure it out as far as, fitting under the cap for the lineup that's on the ice. I'm not too concerned about that. And there are probably some ways the teams are going to get creative as far as creating the space that they need. But it's going to have the bigger impact, I think, in the regular season on how teams operate around the trade deadline.
Yeah, and I wonder if a team like Florida is working right now to get creative, maybe getting a player that might be a reclamation project and then flipping them at the deadline because they have that cap space. So they can use it up to the deadline, and maybe we'll see that. Who knows? All right, before you head out here, any bets you like on the board? I know we talked a little bit. You mentioned Jack Adams Award, and also don't want to force you to talk about anything that you're going to eventually vote on. So if you don't have anything, it's all good. But yeah, do you have anything that you like to take a stab at?
Like I said, I think the Ducks are going to be better than their current points on the books as far as the over-under on it. They're one that I think is going to be ascendant. I'm not really a fan of Montreal this year. I think that they punched way above their weight. I think Sam Montembeault really saved their bacon in a lot of ways. It's still a fundamentally flawed defensive team. And, when you bring on Noah Dobson and Ivan Davidoff, I don't think that you're getting any better defensively. So I'm not quite sure what their total is now, but I think I'd probably take the under on that in what's going to be a pretty competitive Atlantic division as well.
Yeah, 90.5 for the Montreal Canadiens, 82.5 for the Ducks. Slight juice towards the under on the Canadiens, slight juice towards the over on the Ducks. So market seems to agree with you on the Ducks. Before we head out, give me your 4 division winners and who you think is going to win the Stanley Cup.
I got Tampa, Carolina, Colorado, I think is who I picked in the Central, and Edmonton in the Pacific. I got Colorado coming out of the West, which I thought was a real hipster pick until I realized there's more than a few people on the Avs this year. Maybe we're all expecting a Cole Harbor reunion at some point. And then Carolina out of the East. I think Carolina's got the mix right now. Like the players that they've added in the wake of the Rantanen situation, Stankoven, Taylor Hall, they used some of the draft capital to get Keandre Miller. I just think they're primed to finally break through. And it'd be ironic if it was a team that didn't have Rantanen and didn't have Gensel that finally figures it out. So I got them playing Colorado, and I've got Colorado winning the cup, because I think that Nathan's hungry again. When Nathan gets hungry, things tend to go the Avalanche's way.
Yeah, I could see that. Cole Harbour connection could be a real thing. Greg, we appreciate you coming on. We'll chat soon.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, have a good one. Greg Wyshynski, you can follow him on Twitter at Wyshynski. You can find that in the description because I'm sure you might have some trouble spelling it. But yeah, in the description, go check it out. Before we get into our next guest, I know that people are clamoring in the chat about So Money Sports. Got to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at FanDuel. Hockey is back, and FanDuel is giving you a shot at boosted winnings when you make a bet on all the action on the rink. Because right now, all customers have a chance to score big with a 50% profit boost. Just make your pick, apply the boost, and if it hits, you'll get extra winnings at no extra cost. And with FanDuel, you can bet on goal scorers, assists, points, saves, and so much more. Plus, you'll get paid your winnings instantly. Just ready to play your game? Just visit FanDuel.com/forward progress to get into the action today. That's FanDuel.com/forward progress to claim your profit boost. You can score big on your next hockey bet with FanDuel, an official partner of the NHL. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Canadians in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, 19 plus and physically located in Ontario, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issues non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpline.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call Connex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. All right. You know him. You love him. He's a tortured Canucks fan, but I don't know if he'll be tortured this year. He's an NHL bettor. He is So Money Sports with the greatest hair north of the border. So Money, how's it going? We got you muted here for a second. Just give me a second here. You're good? Let's hear it. This is Moretto in the back end trying to sabotage the show right now. He's like, So Money gets a massive tick in viewership every time he comes on. Gets a massive ticket viewership when he comes on. He's like, I got to find a way to sabotage this. So, now Edric is back. The people are in the chat having a hilarious time. But yeah, I'm excited to have So Many on the show. We'll get this sorted for you here in just 1 second. Curious to see what you guys like in the chat. Anything that we've bet so far that you like. I know we have a poll up there. If you haven't voted on it, go vote on it. Who you think is going to, win the Stanley Cup. See, the biggest one is others. All right, there he is. I hear him. Let's bring him on. So Money, how's it going?
Good. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good to go.
Awesome. Ready to go. I think it was actually me. I unhooked the microphone here, but since we're live, I'm not going to be messing around with it. As much as I want to blame Moretto for this, it wasn't him.
I feel like he somehow sent a guy to do this, sneak into your house, unplug it while you were asleep, and then it's always easier to just blame Moretto. Anyways, let's dive right into things. We know a lot about your futures opinions, but I heard recently you have a bold take on. I don't want to say a bold take, but you look towards the West. You see a team that you feel like is currently priced to make the playoffs, but you don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So tell us a little bit about who that is and why.
Which team I don't think. Oh yeah, well it's the Kings.
There you go.
Right.
Talk us through it.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what they were thinking in the offseason. One of their biggest problems going up against the Oilers last year was they just couldn't keep up with the Oilers' firepower, and eventually the Oilers wore them down, as they do with most teams. But it was pretty apparent in that Kings series. So what do you do to fix that? You go out and you get, of course. You go out and get CC and you get Dumoulin to shore up the back end there. So I think the Kings are going to have trouble. I think that we'll see that. I mean, we talk about this all the time. They need a lot from their young kids because they're starting to get older on their team as well. So, but progression is not always linear. So what we're going to see is I think that the young kids are going to have trouble taking that next step, while Doughty and Kopitar start showing their age as well. So Kings are a team that I'm not high on. I do expect them pretty bold here, I guess, to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, to make the playoffs right now, minus 270 over on FanDuel. To miss, plus 210. So pretty bold stuff. If the Kings miss the playoffs, that means there's a spot that is slotted for them. That's now empty. Who do you have in the West do you feel like is going to be taking their place? Who's the new blood that's coming in?
I am so glad that Leboff was on earlier for him to soften the landing here for me.
Okay.
Because if I had just come out pumping up the Canucks right now, it would have seemed as if I'm just being a homer.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not being a homer. Leboff agrees with me too. This is the Canucks spot here. I think that the Canucks have all the tools, and they're ready to go. I think that a couple of years ago they overachieved. I think last year was just toxic. There was just everything that just went wrong. That could go wrong did, and I think that they're primed to even if they get a little bit above the midpoint. Within the from where they were the last couple of years, that becomes a top 3 team in the division. If I'm right about the Kings, so the Canucks are right there, and if you want to get a little bit frisky as well, you can even bet the Canucks to win that division.
All right, I love it. Let me just pull up the division odds right here. Canucks to win is 14-1 to win the Pacific, which is honestly like. I like when these, I don't want to call them middling teams, but like usually the top of the board, teams that are expected to win the Stanley Cup are contenders, like the Oilers, the Knights. If anything goes slightly wrong for them, they're kind of content just coasting their way to the playoffs here and not really fighting for the division awards. This stuff is more important for those teams who might be a little bit weaker, even though the Canucks aren't that weak. Quickly, I want to get, and do you have any opinions on tonight's games? Because I know we have a loaded cast here. We're talking a lot about futures. We talked with you a couple times throughout the offseason about futures, so I want to give them the floor more so and let you talk about tonight's games. We have Chicago, Florida at 5 o'clock, Pittsburgh, New York at 8, and then the Avalanche and Kings at 10:30. Anything you like here on the board?
Well, it should come as no surprise after my rant against the Kings here, but I did bet Colorado tonight. It's still, I'm not sure what the price is right now.
Minus 118.
Yeah. So like I had them right around that range. So I did bet Colorado. The other 2 games, I'm high on the not high on the Penguins. I'm high on the Rangers this year. But I mean that number was completely bet out of range. So nothing for me there, even though I do think that the Rangers are going to be a good team this year, and Chicago, Florida. Florida's tough for me right now. I have no idea. And Chicago is it's not going to be like last year where I was messing around with Chicago quite a bit. I'm not interested in them much this year.
All right. Appreciate that insight again. Minus 118. There's some good prices out there as well on the Avalanche. We talked a little bit about futures on the show with you. Anything that we haven't mentioned previously on previous shows that you're looking to take a stab at, or we kind of hit everything in those previous couple weeks?
Let's see here. So I talked about the Canucks winning the division today. Yeah. I talked about Demko winning the Vezina a few weeks ago. Where else can I talk about the Canucks? Leboff mentioned Lekaramaki for Calder. I think that's worth a shot. He's going to be playing. He's going to get his minutes.
Yeah.
One other Calder that has stood out for me is a Savoy on the Oilers. He's going to be playing top 6 minutes. They're going to give him all the opportunity in the world to play and show what he has. And one good thing about playing off with the Oilers, of course, is that when Connor and Leon are not playing together, he's going to be playing with one of them. So that's going to boost his production as well. At 27-1 on FanDuel right now, I think Matt Savoy is really worth a shot there.
All right, Matt Savoy, 27-1 on FanDuel. And again, if he's playing with those guys, gets power play minutes, this is like it's pretty good price for someone who's going to be playing with McDavid or Draisaitl. Any other things that you like on the board? We talked a little bit about earlier in the show, the Jack Adams award. Anyone you like for the Jack Adams? Joel Quenneville maybe, Adam Foote. Any thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, we're treading into like the last 2 years ago where we had so much Canucks futures and they came through for us. We're in a similar situation here. I think that you can look at Adam Foote. at the current price. If you agree with me that the Canucks are going to do well, but John Cooper really stands out. I think that this Tampa Bay team, especially with what's going on in Florida, not only is their division wide open, I think that their conference is wide open, and they're going to be healthier this year as well. So John Cooper for Adams, I really like, and also Cirelli for the Selke. I believe I got him at 25 or something, or around there. So Cirelli for the Selke, I really like. He's always been a very good two-way player, and I think with the guys healthy or around him, he's not going to have to carry offensively that much as that team gets healthy now. So I think he slots in well to be kind of that mid-range Selke price there.
Etobicoke, Ontario native Anthony Cirelli for the Selke. Absolutely love it. I'll have you for one more minute here. Give me your prediction. Who's winning the Stanley Cup, and give me the 4 division winners.
Division winners: Tampa Bay, New York Rangers, Dallas, and Vegas.
Okay.
Cup: Colorado and Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay winning the Cup.
All right, I love it. So Money, appreciate you joining the show here today. I know the chat does as well. Don't worry, this isn't going to be the last time you see So Money. We'll be covering NHL here on the Hammer Daily every Tuesday. Not every, but most Tuesdays and Thursdays, and sometimes Friday, Monday, Wednesday as well. So if you want to get your daily dose of hockey, this is the place to be. So Money, I appreciate you joining us. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, see you, So Money. Awesome stuff. All right. Before we get into our next guest here, just want to let you guys know that, listen, I know we're covering a lot of hockey today, but if you like the NFL, you're going to want to head over to the Forward Progress HQ YouTube channel, because 5 p.m. Eastern time, we have our week 6? Week 6. Holy smokes.
Hell yeah.
Week 6 NFL best bets show, or early best bets show. We have one show on Tuesday, one show on Thursday. We got our Tuesday crew on log. G-Stack George is going to be there. Flup is going to be there. And Suma is going to be joining the show for this week. They're going to give out their 3 favorite bets currently on the board, break down every single game that is on the board as well. That's today, 5 p.m. Eastern time on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. All right. You're going to want to tune into that. It's good stuff. If you're looking for some props, Ernie, stick around. I'll try and give you some props for tonight, okay? Just got to let me click around a bit here. We got Dom coming on next. He is a writer over at The Athletic.
Not yet.
All right. Well, he's going to be coming on here shortly. Am I early?
All right, go ahead.
All right, he's good. All right, there we go. All right. You know him from over at The Athletic. You've probably seen his charts on Twitter, and guess what? He definitely hates your favorite team. Dom, how's it going?
1 sec.
Oh, all good. I'm a little early
5
here.
seconds.
All right. Oh, there we go. Dom, how's it going?
It is going great. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for joining the show here today. Don't know really where to start. Going to start with Moretto, though, because I know he loves talking up Demidov. He's been on the show a couple times talking about the Habs. He has him pegged to win the Calder at 180 or at plus 180 right now. Do you think that price is fair market? Do you think that it's going to get bet down a little bit more? It's a really good class. There's a lot of opportunity here with a lot of players seeming to get ice time, a lot of rookies getting ice time. What's your opinion on this Calder race out the gate?
Well, I know that I'm contractually obligated to talk about the Habs anytime I join this show. Alex messaged me, says you better talk about my Habs, and here we are. I am not sure because Demidov feels like the obvious front runner with there's no clear-cut number 2. I think that's the biggest thing where I can't picture any winning it. But I don't know about plus 180. Like, I feel like I'd rather take a dart with the field somewhere else and hope I'm right versus at plus 180.
All right, that's fair. We covered the Calder market pretty widely on this show previously. Let's talk a little bit about the Habs, though. I know, again, contractually obligated. Alex said make this segment about the Habs, but I feel like you're probably just looking at your projections lower on the Habs than in market. Last year felt like, we talked about it, punching up above their weight a little bit. Montembeault came to save their bacon quite a bit. Am I right in thinking that you're maybe a little bit lower on the Habs than the market currently is?
Like just a touch. Like I was right on market up until yesterday night when I reran everything. Looked at their lineup. They have Arbor in there instead of Struble or whatever. Like 6 defensemen they have. There was a difference for me between those guys where I ended up dropping them from like 92 to 90. It just my model just hates Chicago. So I'm pretty close. I think compared to the other models, I'm definitely higher though. I've seen a lot of them believe that the Habs are gonna regress a lot because they were punching above their weight. But you look at who they added with Dobson and Bolduc, and they have Demidov for a whole year. I think they can sort of those additions.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about a team that you're a little lower on as well this season. You feel like the market is too. Actually, sorry, I have that wrong. But I just looked at your numbers, and I think you're a little low on them. But I'm wrong. It's just a model. We can figure it out. But the Boston Bruins, you have them projected as like your, I think like 6th worst team, 76 points it was. When you saw that, were you a little shocked to see that number, or do you feel like is that what you were kind of expecting when you were running numbers here?
I was a little shocked, but like not totally surprised based on what happened last year and how old a lot of their. I think as long as McAvoy and Lindholm play up to the ability that we've seen before, even as early as 2 years ago, if Swayman bounces an 85, 87-point team, they could make the playoffs if everything just falls right. But the depth they have on their team is just so bad, and they have some injuries now. How much time Lindholm has missed. I actually had someone who works for a team, a good team, relatively surprised that the market was so low on Boston. I think they're also around 80 points, and he saw something closer to 85, 86 himself. So I don't think it's hard to see, and I was a little surprised, but things can go pretty south fast in the Atlantic Division, especially because of how it is comparative to other ones. I mean, you have still some of the best teams in the league. Florida's still good. They're 2 top guys. And then you have Detroit, Montreal, and Ottawa starting to rise. So I think it's not too hard to see Boston falling behind that pack.
Yeah, they could definitely be the team that's the odd man out here. Again, like it's just hard for me to like look at this team and like I know that towards the fringes they're honestly atrocious, but they still have a decent enough core, especially their blue line. I think they could maybe work something out here. And then Swayman, like we've seen him play incredible in years past. Could see that again this year. I want to touch on Buffalo and Florida because you feel like the market's too high on them as well. Talk us through. I mean, Florida, I could probably guess probably the Barkov injury, but I wonder if maybe there was something else on top of that. But then yeah, go ahead.
For Florida, I had them lower to start. I think they were at 106, and I had them at 102-ish before the Barkov injury. And we both dropped by the same amount, I think around 6 points with Barkov out. It's just a matter of previously just being lower. I think you look at the last 3 years, they had that one amazing regular season year, and then last year they had 98. 3 years ago they had like 92 or 93. So this is not a regular season team that I think can really get to that level. And without their 2 top guys, I think the market's still a little high at 100 points. And I think there's some risks there for sure with how good this division is.
Yeah, also just a team that's content to just kind of floating their way to the playoffs and hoping that they can get their guys back healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah.
That I think it's 102.5 right now in market is obviously a little high. We're talking about teams that you're lower on the market. Who are you high on compared to the market?
Sabres, baby. It's Sabres season. I think I saw FanDuel at like 80.5 when I wrote my best bets article in early September, and the market changed drastically after that. I don't think the Sabres are a playoff team. I think they're on the outside, but I do think the market's definitely low on a team that is very young, primed to improve, has scored, I think, the most goals over the last 2 years at 5-on-5. If they get a good power play, they can be dangerous. I really like Dahlin for Norris, even Hart, if they can make the playoffs. I'm all in the Sabres this year. My division bets are already in the money. My futures are cooking. So now they just need to make do on that promise, I guess.
Yeah, they got to come through. Haven't come through in years past, but hopefully this can be the year for you. Let's. You mentioned you mentioned Hart Trophy winner. Any other awards that you're looking towards that you like outside of Dahlin, like you mentioned here?
I haven't really paid too much attention to the awards market, but I did write some like long shot bets. I was just scanning through with Sean McIndoe and Sean Gentili, and I don't know if the odds are still there, but I think Moritz Seider was like 500 to 1 to win the Norris, which just feels insane for what I think is like a legitimate like number one defenseman. I think people this year, especially if Detroit somehow squeaks in the playoffs, like Seider's going to get a lot of attention. I think people are going to come around to how good he is defensively. If he puts up 60 points, I think he can get some Drew Doughty reputation kind of vibes for the Norris Trophy, where 501 is just insane. I don't know what he is now. It's probably moved since then, but it just felt really off to me.
Nope, still 500 to 1. Leboff came on here and discussed it.
Absolutely.
And, it was a shocking number when he shouted it out as well. Anything that we didn't touch on that you want to mention here? Anything that you feel like is, let's call it like an underrated story heading into the season that you kind of have your finger on that you want to be like following? Maybe that people aren't following right now, but 2, 3, 4 months down the road, they're going to be like, this is going to be like the biggest headline in the NHL. Anything you like?
I am interested to see how much San Jose improves, because they've had like 2 50-point seasons in a row. Michael Misa making the team, Sam Dickinson making the team. Those two guys, if they can play up to their pedigree, I think could provide like a big jump for this team. If Askarov is the real deal, Celebrini takes another jump. Like, I wonder if they surprise with, like, not the playoffs or anything, but like if they can be an 80-point team, even 75 points would be a huge win for them.
All right, San Jose Sharks. We'll keep an eye on them throughout the year. Give me, before you head out here, give me your 4 division winners. Give me your cup finalists, and then give me who you have to win the Stanley Cup.
Division winners. I assume you want something that isn't my model, because that's kind of boring, right?
No, whatever. Whatever your heart desires. I'm good with whatever.
My heart desires, I will go Edmonton, because they never win the division. I think this might be the year. I will go with my almighty Leafs, because that's just hopium after Marner left. I don't want to do Carolina. I'll do New Jersey. Fine. New Jersey. And let's go Colorado.
All right. Love it. And then finals.
Leafs Oilers, baby.
Leafs Oilers.
It's the dream final.
All right. I love it.
Who doesn't want to see McDavid Matthews? And then McDavid can finally win, because Leafs won't win that one.
We'll just be handing him the trophy, but this time he'll be winning the Stanley Cup instead of having to lose, go on the ice, get a trophy. Anyways, crazy stuff there. Dom, appreciate you joining us on the show today. You can follow him on Twitter at Dom Luszczyszyn. You can find the Twitter link in the bio. It's on screen right now too if you want to type it in. But yeah, Dom, appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good one. All right. All right. Everyone's favorite guest is up next. I say that in jest. Alex Moretto.
Closer.
The closer. All right. All right, he's coming on to close out the show. I'll give you a second here, and I'll lead him in. He is the director of content here at the Hammer Betting Network. He is a Habs fan, and his lighting looks a lot better than when we met this morning. Moretto, how's it going?
Yeah, obviously I'm going to be ready for the show here. Turn a couple lights on, get out of the dungeon a little bit. But all the it's great to see all the edge workers in the chat, and I delivered on my promise, I think, about doing my best to turn this into a hockey show. I have to tell Rob today, get out. I want to hear about your NFL market moves. Up. Get out of here with your NFL futures. This is an NHL show. This is what we're doing now, and I hope we can do a lot more of this over the next 6 months.
Listen, I'm biased. I love hockey and I love talking this stuff. So anytime I get a chance to actually be able to talk about it, I'm over the moon. But yeah, let's dive right into things here, because there's a lot to talk about. Also, is it edge workers? I thought it was gooners. Is that not what we call the edge work crew? The gooners? No.
The edges.
The edges. Okay, the edges. Yeah. Okay. All right, got it. Good to know. I'll keep
run with that one.
I'll keep that in my bag. All right, let's talk. People have been clamoring for bets. We've given out a couple already, but you have a ton. Not a ton, but a few for us here. First thing you want to touch on is like a little bit interesting, and maybe people are going to want to pull up FanDuel for this, get prepped, head over to the points total team points market because you found like something pretty interesting here, and I want you to talk us through it.
Yeah, so FanDuel has this really cool feature where you can like SGP different futures. So something I've been kind of playing around with and I think is some really, really good pricing on FanDuel. I've had a lot of fun with and I've made a lot of bets. Is so basically you get a team to win the cup with their under point total. And I don't think it necessarily applies to every team, but like, I mean, the pricing does apply to every team, but I think there's some real let's call them rorts to be had here with a few teams in particular, like the Oilers, the Panthers, teams that I think maybe aren't necessarily going to put all their emphasis on the regular season. Obviously, the Panthers dealing with injuries. Teams like the Avs, teams like the Stars, who are looking ahead to the playoffs. These are teams that are like definitely going to focus all their efforts on April and beyond. Let's not blow our load, so to speak, from October to March. So you can do some crazy things here. Like if you want like Panthers under 99.5 points with Panthers to win the Stanley Cup, you're getting like 47-1. I mean, I don't know about, you guys, but I think that's a pretty great number, especially if you start playing around with a few different teams for this. I've done this with Dallas. I've done this with Colorado. I've done this with Tampa. Obviously, there's a lot of teams where there's a path to like them potentially not necessarily putting up these lofty point totals on, maybe a more competitively balanced NHL this season. And yet, if they then go under their point total, you're sitting on like a massive price for this team to then go ahead and win the cup. And you can do a lot of fun things with that come April if you're sitting on those positions.
Absolutely. And obviously there's like some correlation there if you're going to bet like a bunch of guys within the same conference or division, because they're all going to play each other. But then you're just, again, like you said, sitting on a really good, really good future on these, essentially the cup favorites to win the cup. Hopefully some people got that in. Let's talk a little bit about some other stuff you want to talk about. Hart Trophy. There's a few prices on the board at FanDuel you like. Talk us through it here.
Yeah, there is a couple I like. I'll start with something I know we're maybe had a lot of guys giving out some like massive long shots and stuff like that today, and I think those are a lot of fun too. But I think there is some value up the board here a little bit. And if we're looking, one of them that really stands out to me is Kaprizov at 11-1 right now on FanDuel. I think that's a pretty good number. It is also the best in market that I think I have seen. This is a guy who's like played at a 1.27 point per game pace in his last 4 seasons, excluding his rookie season, which is an insane number. Health has obviously been an issue, but we're not talking about like recurring injuries or like he's injuring the same knee all the time or whatever. I think it's just been kind of fluky and bad luck. If he can stay healthy this year, which I hope he can, I think he can realistically reach like 115, 120 points on a Wild team that is kind of being, I think, underrated right now by the market. They're not getting a ton of respect. I'm definitely a lot higher than them than the market is. I think this is a really good team, good blue line, good goaltending. I think they can compete in the Central. We just talked about teams like Dallas, teams like Colorado, not necessarily focusing all their efforts on the regular season. I mean, if the Wild can like be in the mix for the division with Kaprizov putting up 115 points and the next best player on this Wild team has like 80, I think he's going to be very much firmly in the conversation here. So I like that. Another guy, I mean, look, I'm not here to stroke off the Canucks like so many and Leboff already did, but Quinn Hughes at 40-1, I think is a really good number too. This is a guy who is going to log a ton of minutes. He is by far the most important player on that team. Again, another guy who is going to need to stay healthy, but he's surpassed 90 points before. He was on pace to do it last year before his injury. I think this is a guy who can realistically reach 95 points again this year, playing over 25 minutes a night. If Vancouver does get into the playoffs, even finish top 3 in the Pacific, he's going to get a lot of love. He even got votes last year, not even playing 70 games. So obviously someone that people recognize his excellence. And if he can just kind of stay at the level, he doesn't even need to reach another level. If he can just stay at the level he's at and help that team overachieve a little bit this season, I think he's going to get some love. And 40-1 is a pretty good number there.
All right, 40-1 and 11-1 respectively for Quinn Hughes and Kirill Kaprizov. Let's flip over and touch on some Norris Trophy stuff. We already had 2 people give out Maurice Seider to win the Norris at 500 to 1, which again is a mind-boggling price. I hope it's still there after the show, so I can. So there's some room for this guy to bet on it. But yeah, let's talk Norris here. Anyone you like other than Maurice Seider? I mean, I assume you like Maurice Seider at 500 to 1 as well.
Yeah, let's see if I don't know if Seider's actually still there at 500 to 1. I'm guessing he is. I can't screw. There's so many names listed. Yeah, he's still 500 to 1 right now. So hopefully he's still there for you, Jason. I'm not gonna bang the same drum here, even though I do think that's a very good bet. I am going to give some love to a guy who I think deserves a lot of love here, and people have come on here and maybe not been as kind to the Habs as I think they should have been. So I'm gonna change that right now. It's about time we have some Habs love on this show today. I got to reconsider who I book going forward. Lane Hutson, 30 to 1. You look at a lot of guys in that range, a lot of guys who I don't think have the same ceiling as Hutson does. This is a guy who, like, look, this is such a tough market with Makar and Hughes being how dominant they are at the top. Like, it is two really hard guys to fade. You're borderline like banking on injury there for one of those guys to not win the award because of how good they are compared to the rest of the field. There's obviously a lot of very good defensemen in this league, but these guys are like top of their class. If you're looking at guys who can reach that level in terms of like points, which is obviously what this award has become, it's become borderline like which defenseman is going to put up the most points, so to speak. I think Hutson is a guy who has that level to reach. Dahlin is not a guy who's at 19 to 1. I love Dahlin. Say what you want about the Sabres this year. He's not a guy who's going to hit like that, 85, 90 point range. Bouchard potentially can, but there's some significant knocks on him defensively, which I don't think you can say the same thing about for Hutson. I know there was a lot of knocks at him early on last season, but like he really cleaned things up in that regard. He's going to be asked to play different minutes this year. He's going to be on a much better pairing with Caden Gooley, who's fantastic defensively. If you look at like sports logic, like underlying numbers and stuff like that, like puck battles won, all that stuff, like Hutson was very, very good defensively. He kind of came into his own. He's got the offensive upside. The power play is going to be way better. You got like, obviously like Bolduc in there. You got Demidov in there. You got Dobson in there. You got a lot of guys that he's going to be able to play with and contribute more offensively. I think the ceiling of like reaching that upper echelon of what Hughes and Makar can do offensively, I think he's one guy who can reach it. And if he does, he's going to be a lot shorter than 30 to 1 sooner than later.
Are you worried about him not playing at all this year?
No, I'm not. No.
All right, I had to throw that little
that's fair,
jab in there. All right, Lane Hutson. Honestly, I don't hate the look. I think he actually has like a very high offensive ceiling, as we saw last year. But like, probably like of the field right now, probably with how much he can score, is going to get the closest to Cal Makar and Quinn Hughes. Let's flip over and talk Jack Adams. Anyone you like on the board? I know there's a couple of shout-outs to John Cooper already. Is that, hopefully we didn't steal one of your picks there, but yeah, Jack Adams award, anything you like?
Yeah, you did steal my pick. These guys coming on talking Cooper, I should have known putting myself after Still Money was going to lead to this problem. So I'm going to completely pivot. I'm not even going to talk about the Jack Adams. I'll talk very quickly about the Vezina. And one guy I really like there. I've talked about the Ducks already. That's kind of the team I planted my flag in. Don't love the fact that they're getting a ton of love now since then. I feel like I've seen a lot of people come out like in the last couple of weeks and be like, oh, I'm high on the Ducks this year, which is like, all right, like, I don't know, teams like that tend to, there's nothing to it, but teams that like get all that like love sort of tend to flame out a little bit. So I'm a little concerned about that. But it is what it is. I like Lucas Dostal here in this market, 40 to 1. He is someone who's not a household name yet. I think he should be. He was phenomenal last season on a very bad Ducks team, a very bad defensively Ducks team. They should be much improved defensively. They're going to be much improved overall. But Quenneville will have that effect on them. Defensively, they're going to clean things up quite a bit. And Dostal, who was top 10 goal saved above expected last year, I think he can push to be top 5 easily. This year, if he gets a lot more wins and the Ducks get into the playoffs, I think 40 to 1 on Dostal is a banger.
Yeah, no, I also get what you're saying here. When like teams kind of get bet up and like everyone is like really high on the team, it's almost like a waterfall effect, right? Where it's like, how far is too far for them, and maybe we don't ever hit that critical point, and we might have, and we didn't realize it. But Dostal 40 to 1 to win. Love that look. Any other things we haven't talked about yet that you're interested in? Any other bets you want to give out? Any props for tonight? The chat was clamoring for some props tonight. I'm trying to load up some BetStamp Pro stuff here. Anything you like?
It's ironic that the chat is asking for props. It's like they didn't watch Edgeworth last year. We had about 50 anytime goal parlays and we hit one of them. So I mean, like, there's no way they want me to give out a prop for tonight. Let's be realistic here. I think I'll leave that one to you.
Okay. All right. Then I'll give you the floor here. Give me your 4 division winners. You can't say the Habs because that's not realistic. Cup finalists and then cup winners. You also can't say the Habs because that's also not realistic.
It's going to be boring because everyone said Tampa already, but I'm
Yeah.
going with Tampa too. I just really like this team this year. Carolina, I think they have a very good mix. Again, chalky, but yeah, Carolina. I like Dallas to win. You know what? I'll go with Minnesota. I'll go with the Wild to win the Central. Let's change things up a little bit. I'll go with the Wild there, and then I'll go with Vegas, and then we will have the. Again, this is the problem with going last. It just seems so boring. But like, I have Lightning stuff. I like the Lightning to beat the Avs in the Cup Finals. So that's like the 4th person to give that out. So that's basically guaranteed to not happen at this point.
Yeah, we're going chalk on the show today. I love it. Chat seems to like it as well. Are you sure you don't want to give out an anytime goal scorer tonight? They're asking.
All right.
They said yes, we do.
Let me pull it up here. We'll give out an anytime goal tonight.
Okay.
Let's go with Seth Jones on Florida.
All right,
8-1 on FanDuel.
Seth Jones anytime goal 8-1, best price in market. Go play that at FanDuel. Alex, appreciate you joining the show. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, that was a good one. Alex J. Moretto on Twitter. Go follow him as if you don't already follow him. I know everyone in this chat is following him. All right, a couple more props to give you guys. Oh, Seth Jones just wicked. Yeah, very good price. If you want to have another fun one, I don't think this is good though. Sam Rinzel, anytime goal 13-1. Seems like it's a good price as well. And then we'll go one more. I don't like it, but we'll go under half point here for Mika Zibanejad, plus 164 at FanDuel. You could also play JT Miller and Vinny Trocheck under a half point here, plus 140, plus 190, respectively. All 3 of those, good numbers over at FanDuel. So if you want to play that, go ahead. If it loses, blame Moretto. You guys know the drill. Anyways, this has been a great show, guys. You've been super active in the chat. We appreciate it. Do us a favor, though. If this is your first time here and you enjoy the show, smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. It goes a long way for us here on the channel. Like I said, we're going to be talking hockey throughout the NHL season. We're going to be talking a lot of football, too. Tons of other sports. But when football's done, don't get it twisted. We're going to be talking hockey every single day here on the Hammer Daily. So you're going to want to subscribe. You're going to want to smash that like button because it goes a long way for us here on the channel. Up next at the Hammer, what we have today at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, the Best Bets show is coming up. Tomorrow we have a Circles Off video coming out Wednesday morning.
We do.
Can you share anything?
Another educational style video. Rob giving some perspective on one of the most trending topics in the sports betting space and the gambling Twitter space at the moment.
All right, sounds good. And then also we have our Thursday night watch along, so there's some stuff you can look forward to.
When I looked at the schedule and saw the Giants were going to be broadcast in front of a national audience.
Is that the Thursday night game? I honestly don't look at the Thursday night game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot it was this week. But when I heard the Giants were going to be isolated in front of everyone, I got a little sad.
Well, I don't know. Jackson Dart time, Cam Scattaboo. You get your primetime spotlight.
They haven't beaten the Eagles. It must be like 10 years since they've beaten the Eagles or something crazy like that. Maybe not 10, but geez. Yeah, it'll be tough. Maybe I'll show up if I can circle back in time.
How are you going to play and show up at the same time?
I have my ways.
All right. Okay. Good to know. And then up next tomorrow on the Hammer Daily, you can catch us here live again, noon Eastern Time, as we always are. We got Mr. Peanut Butter coming on to talk college football. Derek Hardy talk some MLB playoffs. Then Rob Pizzola is going to be talking some NFL market movement. We got a great show lined up for you tomorrow. So again, hit that subscribe button. Ring that notification bell to be notified every single time we go live. I would argue this is the best way to spend your lunch hour. If you're going to be eating and I'm not, you might as well enjoy it and listen to me instead. And that's about it, guys. Thank you to all our guests for coming on today. Thank you for the chat, who's been absolutely incredible. Edgework chats, you guys are crushing it. This has been the Tuesday, October 7th edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by FanDuel. We will see you guys right here tomorrow.